Hi everyone, this is Matthew Janda for CardRunners, and I'm here with Tourney Theory Part 3, 30 and lower big blind stack play. What we'll cover. We're going to focus on 30 big blind and lower stack play. Despite not being a tournament player, this is not something I'm unfamiliar with. The reason for that is you still, or at least used to, play against short stacks and cash games. Short stacking at full tilt poker used to be all the rage when you could rake back grind and get bonuses. So I gave a disclosure at the beginning of the tournament series because I have played almost no tournaments in the last 5 years and I didn't want anyone to get a false impression. This is stuff that I do have quite a bit of experience with. The experience was from a while ago, but still, I've played a lot against short stacks in my playing time because that's unfortunately what was happening when I was really grinding a lot of hands. And I think the commonly given advice for how to combat shorties was wrong 5 years ago. I still think that much of that advice is still given for tournaments today, and probably cash games too, but discussing short stack play is less popular. I almost never see questions about how to play against a short stack on the forums, so I just don't think this is a commonly covered topic, but it's something that I definitely think is worth approaching, especially if you're a tournament player. So this video should be relevant for cash games or tourney play. What matters is the stack depth. Theory will be focusing on. The first is how stack depth changes the value of hands. The second is calling raises out of position with changing stack depth. The third is 3-betting out of position. And we're going to discuss linear versus polarized ranges based on stack depth. That sounds really fancy, but it's actually kind of cool and pretty important, and it's not going to sound very complicated after we go over it. And then we're going to talk about calling 3-bets in position. So concept number one, which is how stack depth changes the value of hands, can basically be rephrased as you need to understand the difference between robust and non-robust equity. So this may be a bit repetitive. I talked about it in the previous video, but it's incredibly important. If you feel you already have a really good understanding of the differences between robust and non-robust equity, and you understand how you can have a hand that has both components in it, like sometimes you'll have a hand that has robust and non-robust equity in that same hand. If you've got all that down, don't feel bad, just skip ahead to concept number 2, which is probably like 5 minutes ahead from right here. All right. Robust equity is equity which isn't lost for the most part as the opponent's range gets stronger. So, for example, if you have 6-4 of spades or pocket fives on a 9 of clubs, 5 of spades, 2 of diamonds flop, you won't lose much equity as the opponent's range gets stronger. So if you look, 6-4 of spades, everyone would consider a bluff on the flop. It's a good bluff, but it has a gut shot to the nut straight, and it has the runner flush draw. That's a bluff that has robust equity. Pocket fives are a value bet. It's the second nutted hand, so it's clearly a value bet. But again, that has robust equity. The reason for that is 6-4 suited usually wins with a runner flush or straight, which beats just about everything on the runouts that give a runner flush or straight. Pocket fives isn't likely to be outdrawn, and the hands that can outdraw it, straight draws or runner flushes, aren't usually the hands that go to war on the flop or turn anyways. So one more time, what does robust equity mean? It means it's equity which is not going to be lost as the opponent's range gets stronger. It can be a value betting hand or a bluffing hand. Both types of hands can have robust equity. Here, our bluffing hand, 6-4 of spades. If that hand's going to win at showdown, it's probably going to win with a flush or a straight. And flushes and straights can beat strong hands in the opponent's range, which is why we consider that robust equity. Pocket fives are a little bit trickier, but think about it. If pocket fives are going to be outdrawn, it's usually going to be to a straight or a runner flush. So even if the opponent's range was strong or weak on the flop, pocket fives are probably going to have about the same amount of equity, which is probably like 85 or 90% equity against his range. So it doesn't really matter how strong the opponent's range is. Pocket fives pretty much just crush everything, so you don't really have to worry about betting or raising with the hand. Pocket fives is pretty much still going to be the nuts and very unlikely to be outdrawn no matter how the opponent's range looks. Whether or not it includes a bunch of junk in like a button versus big blind spot, or if it includes only like really strong hands, like if middle position c-bet and you raised on the button with pocket fives. Pocket fives are still going to be pretty much nutted against any type of range and going to have about 85 to 90% equity against any type of range.